Hi team, this is Adaptability Advantage. I'm your host Zena Khan, and I'm here to help you navigate life and understand what it really means to be adaptable. Each episode I'll share tools and tips I've picked up along the way in my journey, because I see change as opportunity. And maybe, just maybe, by the end of this episode, you will too. So let's talk. This podcast is about navigating change with confidence in times of transition. And today I want to talk about change and the importance of creating your own launch pads. You see, when it comes to change, it doesn't ask for permission. It's the power within change that either propels us forward or makes us feel like we are completely off track. Change builds over time, and at the same time you can feel yourself fighting it or resisting it. And fair enough, as we're only human. I, for one, love my comfort zone. I mean, why fix anything when it ain't broke, right? But of course, life will always have its own plan. And this is where most would say when shit hits the fan. And sometimes things happen all at once and you don't know which way to look or even go. And this is how I felt at the end of 2025. Change was pushing me, and I resisted it for the longest time. Trying to think of ways I could change the course of change itself? Impossible. Like, why did I even think I had such magical powers at my disposal? Change was knocking on my door. Change didn't care if I was ready or not. So in December 2025, my job ended and now I'm on a career break. I decided to call this phase my no plan plan. I guess I also wanted to challenge myself. I love structure and having a plan is safety for me. So deciding to do a complete 180 on myself has been something I've had to get used to, and let's just say it's a work in progress. I'm currently in Australia and I feel like I'm waiting for this big piece of inspiration, realization, the next big idea to fall out of the sky and land in my lap. And almost 9 weeks later into my travels, I am still no closer to knowing what I want to do next. It's both liberating and frustrating. Good days, bad days, and all things in between, because I always have a plan. So with my role finishing, would you believe that my apartment lease was also ending? Coincidence? Maybe. The timing of it? The worst. Universe at play? I believe so. And was I ready for my life to flip upside down like that? Not entirely. But hey, there's always a silver lining to life, right? You see, I've been living in Wellington for almost 6 years, a city that has changed me in so many ways. It was so tough to leave. It was, one thing to let go of your role and then say goodbye to colleagues you've gotten to know over the years. But, to also have to deal with leaving Wellington, a life I had built. Now that was a double whammy. Talk about the snowball effect. I was happy. I was set in my routine, a network, a community, work was going great. But the universe had other plans and basically said, okay, that's enough now. Time for the next thing, your next move. You see the crazy part to this? That change tells you it's time for something new, but doesn't totally give you a map. The details. The what, the why, the purpose, the how. Not even the when. The when. To when everything will start to make sense again. And I'm still waiting for that. When I first moved to Wellington back in 2019, it was the challenge I was looking for. Something new, something fresh, and something out of the box. A place that would force me to look within, and progression was the hope, the aspiration, and the goal. When I look back, I feel like for the most part, I was probably walking around in the dark, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Some days made sense whilst others didn't. I credit the capital for the growth experienced even within the challenges, because that's what makes the journey fun, right? Well, I'll let you decide on that one. Wellington will always have a special place in my heart, and I will be forever grateful, because like all good things, it must come to an end. And trust me when I say the number of scenarios I tried to think of to stay in the capital, tightly hold on to, did not work. Even with my best efforts, change was like, no, shut up, you're moving. I've come to realise since moving back to Auckland to regroup before my next move, the people who learn how to move with change rather than resist it are the ones who stay steady, relevant, and confident about what comes next. Well, maybe not confident, not completely at first, but it probably will follow. Like motivation follows action, as they say. So this season, I'm really out here testing my message of adaptability and moving with confidence in life, in career, in relationships with myself and others. Trying my best to stay human while everything around me continues to shift. Because I believe that adaptability is a key skill and our human advantage. Our future depends on it. My future depends on it. Now, research by the World Economic Forum projects that around 40% of skills will change by 2030. 40% in less than 5 years. Nearly half of what we know professionally will evolve. And this shift just isn't something that us individuals need to think about, myself included. It's something leaders and organisations need to take seriously too. Because when skills evolve this quickly, the real question is, how are we helping people grow within work? Move with change, move with confidence. And the strongest organisations I've seen don't just react to change, they prepare their people for it. They create cultures where learning is normal, communication is clear, and the pace of change is considered as humanly as possible. Curiosity is encouraged, questions are welcomed, along with feedback provided in a timely manner. Well, as best they can. This is where people feel safe to evolve their skills instead of protecting outdated ones. Organisations thrive in the future. They won't be the most efficient ones, they will be the most adaptable ones. But interestingly enough, my first lesson in adaptability didn't come from research. It came from a restaurant. I was 16 years old. My first lesson in how loyal we can become to organisations. The security of full-time work. When change is constant, we can fall into a trap of, that won't happen to us. I was 16, my first part-time job in hospitality. I worked at Sizzler, which at the time was a well-known restaurant chain around the world. If you remember those days, the place was always busy. Lines out the door, families waiting, that steady buzz of plates clinking and people chatting. It felt like one of those places that would always be there. Then something started to change. At first it was subtle. They stopped opening for lunch and they only had dinner service, which was strange because it used to be full all day. Then one Saturday morning, the entire team was called in. We sat in a circle inside the restaurant. The lights were off. This was to ensure customers didn't rock up thinking we're open. We relied on natural sunlight beaming in from the windows that surrounded us. A silence filled the room. A heavy pause is what I remember. Staff around the room, exchanging eye contact but no words. Managers at the front. And that's when they told us the restaurant was closing. At 16, I remember thinking something very simple. I thought jobs were secure. You work, you show up, you do your job well, and the job stays. But what stayed with me the most wasn't the announcement itself. It was what I saw across the room. There was a colleague sitting opposite me. She was much older, and she looked devastated. Not disappointed, devastated. Because this place wasn't just where she worked, it was everything she knew. Her colleagues were her community, her income supported her family, and in that moment, the closure wasn't just about losing a job. It was about losing stability, losing certainty, losing the ground beneath her feet. And sitting there watching her reaction from across the room, something clicked in me. I thought that has stayed with me ever since. I never want to be in a position where I don't have options. Not options driven by fear, but options built through growth, awareness, confidence. Because at 16, I didn't have the language for adaptability yet, but I understood something important. Having options matters. As my career unfolded across industries, finance, manufacturing, education, technology, I started seeing the same pattern over and over again. Change happens, restructures happen, technology reshapes roles, leaders come and go, teams evolve. Sometimes organizations grow, but they also shrink. But professionals who navigate these moments best are the ones who built launch pads. Not escape plans, but some of us can say they're escape plans as a more comfortable term. But for this example, let's call it launch pads. Spaces that allow you to move forward when something changes. Launch pads can look like many things: skills, relationships, your own confidence and self-awareness, your curiosity and a level of openness, or simply the belief that you can step into something new, because adaptability isn't reacting at the last minute. It's preparing for movement long before you need it. This is the heart of the message I share in my Power and Change newsletter. Because one of the most important shifts professionals can make is this. A job is something you do. It's not who you are. Your title is a chapter, not your identity. When we attach our entire sense of value to a role, change can sometimes feel deeply personal. But when we stay connected to our strengths, our curiosity, and our ability to grow, change becomes something different. It's movement, it's direction, it's opportunity, and the growth mindset matters. So for professionals navigating career transitions, for leaders guiding teams through uncertainty, and for organizations trying to stay relevant in a rapidly evolving world, adaptability isn't just an individual skill, it's a collective capability. This is why I developed the Drive framework. A simple way to approach things when it comes to change with intention. D for determination, the commitment to keep moving forward even when the path isn't obvious. R for redirection, recognizing when it's time to pivot instead of pushing harder in the wrong direction. I is insight for foresight, learning from experiences so you can anticipate what might come next. And vibe, the energy you bring into situations, because how we show up influences how change unfolds. E for energy, protecting the enthusiasm and momentum needed to keep moving forward. Together, these elements help people stay grounded while still being flexible enough to adapt. And honestly, the seeds of this framework started forming in moments like that restaurant meeting. Experiencing my first redundancy at 16, And so far in my career, I have experienced several more redundancies. And along the way, I've been creating launch pads ever since. Investing in my professional development, putting my hand up for upskilling opportunities, and nurturing those key industry relationships, because your network is your key. So, as we begin the new season of Adaptability Advantage, I want to leave you with this simple reflection. Ask yourself, where are your launch pads? What skills are you building now? And what environments are helping you grow? Because the future of work will reward people who stay curious, flexible, and aware. And the earlier we build those launch pads, the easier it becomes to move when change arrives. If today's conversation resonated with you, connect with me on LinkedIn, where I share weekly reflections through my newsletter, Power and Change. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes. Share this episode because sometime someone might need to hear it. Until next time, remember this. Adaptability is the key to moving with confidence, because when the world changes, the people who thrive are the ones who know how to move.